Text Chapter 21 The Beautiful Lady. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After leaving the train station, I saw those skyscrapers, one after another, and cars one after another on the road. In addition to being envious, I was still envious. Your mother, when will you be able to drive a car and drive around in such a city? With such a simple idea in mind, Li Tian left the train station and started walking on the street. Although he has just arrived here, Li Tian is not stupid. He knows that he must solve the problems of food, clothing, housing and transportation first. Now that he still has more than 1,000 yuan in his pocket, staying in a hotel is definitely hopeless. His only thought is hurry up and find a house to rent first, preferably a cheaper one, and then find a job. As for his unmarried wife who told him to find that guy named Xiao Si, this guy was still confused and he didn't know anyone. So where should he go to find her? Even if he wanted to find one, Li Tian had to solve his own accommodation problem first, so Li Tian carried his broken bag and looked for a place to stay in such a crowded place. In Kyoto City, on the bustling streets, I saw a beautiful woman trotting out of breath. She wore an off-shoulder snowflake princess shirt on her upper body, a very tight one, and an exquisite just-leather skirt on her lower body, revealing 2 slender white legs, and a pair of elegant crocodile leather sandals on her ankles, a pair of classic melon seed face, with a pair of eyes as bright as autumn water, giving people a slightly rebellious atmosphere, a straight bridge of the nose, and the small cherry mouth below. No matter how you look at it, you look like a little princess. Especially the Hermes silk scarf tied around the neck is very gorgeous and gives people a sense of grace and luxury. Anyone who sees a beautiful woman dressed like this will know that she is definitely a wealthy person. But why was such a beautiful little princess running in such a panic? It seemed as if someone was chasing her from behind. As the beautiful girl ran, she blinked her beautiful eyes and looked back. You're so faint, why are you still following me? She muttered. It turned out that if I looked carefully, I saw an awesome black Benz 600L following the girl closely on the street behind. Sitting in the car were 2 men in suits. One was driving, and the other was looking through the car window from time to time. The eldest lady is over there, don't lose her. Just listen to the man with weak complexion sitting in the passenger seat pointing at the girl trotting down the street and saying. The other man driving the car nodded quickly, stepped on the accelerator, and the car followed quickly. The boss said that if we have to follow Miss again this time, let's not go back. Come on, don't lose her. The man in a suit sitting in the passenger seat said with an embarrassed look on his face. The man driving the car also looked embarrassed and quickly accelerated towards that side. The beautiful and princess-like girl in front of her finally stopped at the corner of the street, probably because she was tired from running. A slender hand kept patting his bulging chest, panting, and glaring with almond eyes at the Benz car that was following. After the Benz car drove over, the car quickly stopped on the side, and then saw 2 men in suits walking over quickly. Miss. Shut up. The beautiful girl stared at the 2 men in suits with almond-shaped eyes and said. I'll tell you again, don't follow me. Go back and tell my father that you won't marry me even if you kill me. The beautiful girl said angrily with her almond-shaped eyes wide open. The 2 men in suits standing nearby looked embarrassed and said, Miss Feifei, we can't help ourselves. The boss said that if we can't take you back today, the 2 of us will be killed directly. Fired. What does it have to do with me? Well, my dad wants me to go back. If he can, let him do it himself. The eldest lady named Feifei turned around to leave as she spoke. Miss Feifei, you are embarrassing us. If you insist on not going back, then don't blame our subordinates for being sorry. One of the guys said as he grabbed the girl with one hand. It seemed like he was trying to hold her back. Unfortunately, before he could catch her, the girl named Feifei raised her calf and stomped on the foot of the man in the suit. The man in the suit didn't expect that the eldest lady would suddenly make a move, and he was stepped on all of a sudden. It almost hurt. Scream it out, Feifei chuckled, and then ran forward quickly. What the hell, why are you still standing there? Go and catch the eldest lady quickly. The man in the suit who was stepped on was filled with anger. Unfortunately, he couldn't vent it, so he could only face his side. Another companion said angrily. The boy quickly chased after the girl. After all, Feifei in front was from a girl's family, so naturally she couldn't run as fast as the two bodyguards at the back, isn't this? As she ran, she raised her head and looked at the bodyguards following her. She never expected that a person in front of her was also looking around, so all of a sudden, a certain woman and a certain man bumped into each other. "Oh, dead man, you don't have eyes." The eldest lady Feifei, who was knocked to the ground, turned around and cursed, "Who was the guy who got hit?" I blinked and saw, wasn't it Li Tian who had just arrived in Kyoto? Li Tian was hit by this girl so suddenly. He was still angry, but he didn't expect that this girl would lose his temper first. He turned his head and was about to curse, but when he saw the girl sitting on the ground rubbing her fair calves with a delicate expression, he softened his heart for a moment. I thought to myself, what a sign of a girl. "What are you looking at?" "Dead man, look at how you hit me." Feifei glared at Li Tian with her almond-shaped eyes. Li Tian didn't expect this girl to be so unreasonable, and said with a smile, "Beauty, you hit me, okay? You deserve to be hit to death. Who asked you to block my way? Why are you so unreasonable, girl?" Li Tian was a little angry, thinking that although he had just arrived in Kyoto City, he wouldn't be bullied like this, right? While they were arguing, the two bodyguards who were chasing after them had already ran over. Feifei's beautiful eyes saw the two followers coming over again, and she hurriedly hid behind Li Tian. "Don't come over here," Feifei said while hiding. When the two bodyguards saw the eldest lady suddenly hiding behind a man, they couldn't help but be slightly startled. Text Chapter 22. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. And what about Li Tian? I'm also surprised, how the hell could this happen? Two men are chasing a beautiful little girl. Thinking about it with his buttocks, Li Tian would also think these two men are bad guys. Can a man who bullies a woman be a good person? "Hey, what do you do?" One of the men in suits over there looked at Li Tian and asked coldly. Li Tian was already wondering what was going on, but when this guy asked, he was about to speak, but he only heard the girl hiding behind him suddenly say, He is the bodyguard I hired. If you two know each other, you should stay away quickly." Ah, Li Tian was stunned for a moment. I secretly thought, what the hell is going on? How could he become the bodyguard of the girl behind him in the blink of an eye? Bodyguard? The two men in suits could tell at a glance that the eldest lady was lying. He sneered and said, "Just him?" Feifei looked unhappy and said, "Why, you still look down on my bodyguard? You, go up and beat them." Feifei said, giving someone a hard push behind him, so Li Tian reluctantly became the scapegoat. He leaned forward suddenly, looking as if he was really going to take action, and rushed towards the two guys in suits. One of the men in a suit suddenly changed his face, clenched his fists involuntarily, and then punched. Judging from the body's reaction and his proficiency in punching, this person is definitely a character who has practiced. Even if he has not practiced, he must be a character who often fights. No, he punched Li Tian in the abdomen. The fists are fast and hard. Li Tian, who had no training, could not react. In addition, he was not prepared at all, but the girl behind him pushed him unprepared and punched him firmly. What about Feifei in the back? He immediately closed his eyes. I was still snickering in my heart and said, don't blame me, I can't help myself." With a bang, the man in the suit hit Li Tian's abdomen with his fist, and a surprising and strange scene appeared. What about Li Tian, who had been punched? He stood there completely innocent, and what about the guy who punched him? At this moment, a face suddenly distorted, and then the fist came down unnaturally. Then I heard a muffled sound of pain coming from his mouth. The companion next to him was almost stunned. He looked at the extremely ugly companion and asked quickly, "What's wrong?" The companion's hand was shaking with pain and he was gritting his teeth and said in pain, "It's broken." Huh. The companion next to him was stunned for a moment. He punched others, but others were still standing there intact. But what about him? His hand was suddenly beaten and fractured. Damn, what's going on? Where is Li Tian? The whole person was stunned, real or fake. He himself was confused. The opponent suddenly punched him in the abdomen. Li Tian instinctively raised his energy. The little energy in the middle of his abdomen was caused by being knocked away by a tadpole while reading the broken book on the train. It's a completely instinctive reaction, but what was unexpected was that he had just been punched, and he didn't feel any pain at all, but the tiny energy in his body was released by himself, so the opponent broke his bones. Your mother, are you kidding me? Li Tian was stunned. Brother, are you kidding me? Is it really broken? Li Tian was very surprised as he looked at the man who was gritting his teeth and looking pale in pain and asked. When the man heard Li Tian's words, he turned into a naked insult. Unfortunately, his arm was indeed broken. The pain gave him no chance to take action again. He gritted his teeth and glared at Li Tian, and what about the eldest lady Fei Fei just behind? At this moment, Li Tian blinked and looked like a monster. Wow, is it really that powerful? That there was a sound of disbelief in her voice. She originally wanted Li Tian, the unlucky guy, to block the two followers who were following her, but what Fei Fei didn't expect was that she actually met a master. Where did you come from? What does the young lady who picked us up have to do with you? The other man in a suit did not dare to get in at the moment and could only stand there and say. Li Tian was stunned. Miss? Bah, who knows you? Na Fei Fei suddenly said smartly. They are bad people, I don't even know them. Fei Fei said, blinking at Li Tian. Miss, you. The bodyguard was speechless. Who is your eldest lady? Really, I have nothing to do with you. If you don't want to be beaten down, just drive away, otherwise I will ask my bodyguards to beat you away, Fei Fei. Tao said. When the bodyguard heard what the eldest lady said, his face was extremely ugly. He glanced at Li Tian fiercely, as if he wanted to take action, but the fractured companion next to him winked at him, signaling him not to take action. Get out of here. Fei Fei said angrily, there was no other way. These two hardworking bodyguards could only turn around and walk towards the back, but they couldn't help but curse Li Tian in their hearts, blaming this guy for ruining things. After the two bodyguards were defeated by the sudden master, what about the so-called master? He was completely stunned there, touching his belly with his hand, and couldn't help but said depressedly, what on earth is going on? Is that guy's arm really broken? No way, I didn't move him or hit him, so why did his hand suddenly break? But the pained look on that guy's face doesn't look like he's pretending, does it? Could it be that she was fine after being punched by him, but his hand was fractured? He was thinking there with a depressed look on his face, completely unaware that the eldest lady Fei Fei behind him was looking at this master unblinkingly. Wow, that's awesome. Who are you, handsome guy? Li Tian, who was wondering, suddenly heard a chattering voice from behind asking. Li Tian turned around and was furious. What the hell do I still want to ask you? What's going on? When did I become your bodyguard? Why did those two people beat me for nothing? Li Tian turned around and cursed. Na Fei Fei giggled all of a sudden, her smile was full of flowers, and she was leaning forward and back with laughter. Handsome guy, he has quite a temper, hee, but I like it. A certain woman said without any reservation. Li Tian was destined to be a peach blossom, but when he saw this girl smiling coquettishly, most of the anger in his heart suddenly disappeared. Just imagine that man can lose his temper with a beautiful woman. It is simply impossible. Tell me, what happened just now? Li Tian asked, pointing to Fei Fei in front of him. Fei Fei stopped laughing and blinked her eyes to look at Li Tian, which made Li Tian feel a little uncomfortable. You are a hero saving a beauty. Isn't this something obvious? Fei Fei said with a smile. Please add it to your collection, please recommend it, please help me with everything, brothers, please help me, and I will update the flower thorn as well. Text Chapter 23. Is it expensive? You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Li Tian glared at Fei Fei. What kind of hero saves the beauty? I think you are kidding me. I didn't. You saw it just now. Those two gangsters wanted to bully me. Fei Fei said. Li Tian is not stupid, of course he could see what it meant just now. I don't think it's the same. Those two people seem to know you, and they keep calling you miss. Li Tian Dao said. Fei Fei quickly said, really, I really don't know those two people. You think I'm stupid, I will believe you. Li Tiannu said. Humph, forget it if you don't believe it, I'm too lazy to make you believe it. Li Tian glanced at her and thought, forget it, he is fine anyway, so he won't care about her. Ignoring her, Li Tian walked forward carrying his broken bag. He quickly wanted to find a house to rent. Otherwise, he would have to sleep on the street today. He didn't want to spend time with this crazy girl here. As soon as Li Tian took a step forward, he heard the sound of Crystal's sandal stepping on the ground behind him and chased after him. Hey, handsome guy, where are you going? You saved me, and I haven't repaid you yet. Said Feifei, who caught up. Li Tian didn't even turn his head and said directly, no, you'd better not repay me. But, handsome boy, where are you going? Feifei continued to chase. Li Tian turned his head helplessly, looked at Feifei and said, I'm looking for a house. Looking for a house? What do you mean, don't you have a house to live in? Feifei asked in confusion. Li Tian only felt that this girl was a little bored and said, I just came to Kyoto. If I don't find a house to live in, am I not allowed to sleep on the streets? Oh, that's it, you just came to Kyoto. Hey, I'm the best at finding a house. How about I help you find it? Na Feifei said with a sincere face. Li Tian turned his head and looked at Feifei with wide eyes. Will you help me find it? Yes, I'm from Kyoto, so no one is more familiar with this place than me. I'm the most familiar with the Roman resort, the Vienna Hotel, etc. Li Tian frowned slightly when he heard what this girl said. Is it expensive? That he only had more than 1,000 yuan left, so of course he couldn't stay in an expensive hotel. Li Tian, who came from a small county town, had heard about the Roman Resort Hotel and the Vienna Hotel. Na Feifei smiled faintly. It's not expensive. It's cheap. I stay here often. When Li Tian next to him heard that the girl said it was not expensive, he immediately felt happy, thinking that he had finally encountered something reliable. Although he said that this girl was playing tricks on him, he could finally help him a little now, especially when he heard Feifei say that she stayed there often. Li Tian thought that the hotel shouldn't be expensive, but does he know what kind of person this Feifei is? What is the concept of her regular residence? So the miserable Shen Lang was taken by this girl in a taxi and taken to the Rome Resort Hotel. When he took a taxi to rent a car, Li Tian didn't expect that the starting price was even 10 yuan. He felt so distressed that when he asked to take a taxi to Rome for vacation, the taxi driver couldn't help but look at Li Tian a few times. He couldn't help but murmured, when I went to Rome on vacation, I even had to bargain with a taxi driver. Rich people are so fucking stingy. Sitting in the car, Li Tian felt so regretful that his intestines broke. The starting price of this taxi was only 10 yuan. How much does it cost to drive to Rome for a holiday? I feel bad. Feifei next to her couldn't help but frown slightly when she looked at his behavior. Hey, have you really just come to Kyoto? Feifei blinked and looked at Li Tianwen. Only then did she take a closer look at Li Tian, who was wearing blue plop jeans, a pair of white sneakers, and a knockoff version of Adidas on his upper body. Of course, why did I lie to you? Li Tian said. Feifei was speechless for a moment, and couldn't help secretly thinking, it turns out that this guy is actually a bumpkin, but thinking about it this way, Feifei was still shocked by the ability of this master. You must know that the two men in suits who took her back just now are their security guards, and everyone has practiced their roles. She thought to herself that Li Tian, a master, broke someone's arm without even punching. What an incredible strength. So Feifei didn't pay too much attention to the bumpkin in front of her. The taxi quickly drove to the entrance of a 5-star hotel, Roman Holiday. A tall 58-story building stands there. Here we are. The taxi driver stopped at the door of the Roman resort. Li Tian blinked and looked outside, and his egg suddenly shattered. Could the towering and awesome building in front of him be the Roman Holidays? Brother, did you bring me to the wrong place? I went to the Roman Holidays. Li Tian asked in disbelief. The driver in front frowned and said, look at the sign, it's Roman Resort. There is only one Roman Resort Hotel in Kyoto, you can't go wrong. Li Tian's egg shattered in an instant, and he quickly turned his head to look at Na Feifei and asked, is this really the Roman Holidays? Yeah, what's wrong? Feifei said as she opened the car door and got out of the car. where is the rest of Li Tian? Suddenly he looked miserable. After giving the driver more than 50 yuan for taxi fare, Li Tian was still wondering if the driver was lying to him. Damn, the building in front of me is so high. If this is a hotel, how can I afford it? With only more than 1,000 yuan left in his pocket, Li Tian was secretly depressed. But what about Feifei? But as if he had been here frequently, he was already walking towards the entrance of the Roman resort hotel. Li Tian quickly followed. The huge crystal glass door of the Roman resort was revolving, and two doormen with clean faces stood at the door, politely opening the hotel door to welcome guests. Li Tian, who ran up, looked here and there, secretly wondering, how much does it cost to stay here for one night? 200. 300. Hey, is this really a Roman holiday? Li Tian chased Feifei a little unwillingly and asked. Feifei couldn't help but feel a little depressed. She turned around and said, "Brother, you have asked me 10 times. You are illiterate. You can tell by looking at the sign. I'm so dizzy." Feifei muttered there. Li Tian couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. How much does it cost to stay here for one night? Is it expensive? It's not expensive. Feifei said as she walked up. That's good, that's good. Li Tian finally felt relieved. Text chapter 24. You lied to me again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I can't help but secretly say, who the hell said everything is expensive in big cities? After arriving at the front desk, the waiter at the front desk was a girl in her 20s wearing a black suit. She had a pair of watery eyes on her round face. She said to Feifei and Li Tiandao who were walking over, "Welcome to Rome. Fake day. Feifei has come over now," he said calmly, "open 2 luxurious private rooms." Okay. Then Feifei took out her ID card. Then Li Tian saw Feifei take out her ID card from her girl in Santa Fe, Giles, bag, and quickly took out an ID card from her jeans and handed it over. The waiter quickly registered and then quickly took out 2 keys from the front desk. 2 luxurious private rooms, a total of 8,600 yuan. When the lady at the front desk said these 4 digits, a certain man stood there stunned as if he had been struck by lightning. But what about a certain woman? He stood there with a calm expression, forming a strong contrast. When the waiter saw that neither of them paid, he thought he hadn't heard clearly, so he said it again in standard Mandarin. "Hello, 2 luxury private rooms cost a total of 8,600 yuan per night." This time the sound really reached their ears. As for Feifei, she couldn't help but look at Li Tian in confusion. And where was Li Tian? He stared at Feifei with wide eyes. "What are you looking at? Pay for it." Feifei said depressedly. Feifei, the eldest daughter who has been pampered since she was a child, has the habit of paying by herself and always by her subordinates. Furthermore, Feifei who ran out today did not bring her own juxai wallet at all. She said this to Li Tian there. Li Tian's egg broke at that time. 8,600 yuan, damn, please kill me. 8,600 yuan. Oh my god. How can I have so much money? Li Tian said in shock. Feifei felt embarrassed all of a sudden. The waitress frowned slightly and said with a smile, "Sir, it's okay if you don't have cash. We have an automatic card swiping machine. You can do it if you have a bank card." Na Feifei quickly turned around and smiled awkwardly at the waiter. "Wait a moment." The lady at the front desk nodded slightly. Feifei quickly pulled Li Tian aside. "Hey, handsome guy, do you really have no money? Or are you just pretending to have no money?" Li Tian wanted to squeeze this girl to death, but he tried hard to endure it in such a luxurious place, and said, "I have more than 1,000 yuan in total." Oh my god, she wants 8,600 a night. Where can I steal it? Ah. Feifei fainted when she heard what Li Tian said. She never expected that the person she met this time was really a country bumpkin and a pauper. "Don't you have a bank card?" Feifei asked unwillingly. "How can I have it?" Li Tian said depressedly. Feifei suddenly despaired. "Oh, my god. Are you rich?" Li Tian suddenly asked Na Feifei. Feifei originally wanted to say that she had it, not to mention 8,600, what does 86,000 mean to Feifei? But today, when she ran out of the house in a hurry, she didn't bring her wallet, which made her suffer a lot. I didn't bring my wallet. Feifei said. When Li Tian heard this girl say that she had no money, she was immediately shattered. Sister, didn't I tell you to find a cheaper hotel? A cheaper one, so you can force me to come here. Feifei didn't expect that the guy she found was actually a country bumpkin. After thinking for a while, she looked at Li Tian, pouting like a child who had done something wrong. What should I do? Then what else can we do? Let's go. Li Tian glared at her fiercely, and now he wanted to squeeze her to death. The waiter at the Roman resort over there saw that Li Tian and Feifei had been discussing here, and couldn't help but frown and asked, Sir, Miss, are you still staying? As the words came out, Li Tian turned his head and said awkwardly, I'm sorry, we can't stop now. After saying that, he quickly lowered his head and fled from here like a thief. And what about Feifei? Her face was even red with embarrassment, and she wanted to find a crack in the ground to crawl into and leave here. When the front desk lady saw the two people walking away in despair, she couldn't help but muttered, really, it's really terrible to still charge the big-tailed wolf here without money. After leaving the door, Li Tian's face felt hot, especially when he saw Feifei following behind. You, stop, don't follow me from now on, okay? Li Tian pointed at Na Feifei and said with a glare. Feifei felt aggrieved, and her delicate little face seemed to be about to cry. Handsome boy, don't leave me. Feifei begged. Yes, no matter what you say, I will never believe you again. Li Tiandao said. He was now being fooled around by what he thought was a girl, and he felt so cruel in his heart. He originally thought that this girl would help him find a cheaper place to live, but he didn't expect that she would come here and spend dozens of dollars to rent it. Not to mention the fare, he still hadn't found a place to go out. Li Tian was certainly depressed when he thought about it. In fact, we can't blame Feifei. In Feifei's values, the Roman holiday is really cheap, so Feifei also felt aggrieved. After saying that, Li Tian walked away as if he really wasn't prepared to talk to Na Feifei. Feifei followed a few steps. Stop right here. From now on, stay as far away from me as possible. Li Tian said angrily. Feifei was stunned. No one had ever lost her temper with her since she was a child. Today, it was the first time she was scolded by a stranger like this. She stood far behind, looking like a little pitiful person. Li Tian refused to let her go. She followed, but she stood far away and did not follow. After walking far away, Li Tian looked back at the girl, especially when he saw the girl standing there with her little mouth curled up, so someone softened his heart. He sighed and walked back obediently. I tell you, from now on you must listen to me and don't lie to me. I will let you follow. Li Tiandao said. When Na Feifei saw Li Tian running back, she suddenly smiled charmingly again. I knew you were a compassionate person. Li Tian had no choice but to face this girl. Carrying the broken bag and walking forward, Feifei followed behind. One is a poor boy who has just arrived in Kyoto, and the other is a mysterious rich lady. You can see the surprise just from the clothes. When these two people walked together, they aroused the suspicious eyes of many people. Handsome boy, what's your name? Feifei blinked and looked at Li Tian and asked. The surname is Li and the given name is Tian. Li Tian. Feifei felt that the name was a bit awkward, but she didn't say it out loud. What about you? Girl? Li Tian asked. Feifei smiled and said, just call me Feifei. P. The new book group number is announced. Group 2, brothers, please don't join Group 1. It's full. Group 22329648858. Text Chapter 25 Counterfeit Phone. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tell me the truth, what's going on with you? Why are those two people chasing you today? Li Tian asked. Feifei felt embarrassed all of a sudden. She didn't know what to say, so she hesitated for a long time without saying anything. You can't tell this kid that you are the daughter of the Tang family, right? But Li Tian said there, let me guess, do you owe someone money? That's why they are chasing you. Suddenly hearing what Li Tian said, Fei wanted to laugh, but she still held it back. The daughter of the Tang family owed money to others. If this word spread in Kyoto City, she would not be laughed to death. Fei suppressed her laughter and pretended to be pitiful. You have seen all this, you are really smart. Li Tian chuckled. Do you think I'm stupid? You don't have a penny on you, and those two people are still chasing you. If you didn't owe people money, why are you running so fast? Do you think my guess is right? Li Tian said. Fei said, yes, handsome boy, you are so smart. You are so smart that I, Tang Fei, admire you. Li Tian laughed. Follow me. I still have more than 1,000 yuan in my pocket. Girl, with me here, I can't keep you hungry. Someone swore, patting his chest, so a poor, sexy man took another poor little beauty, and the two of them walked towards an ordinary residential area. Fei's legs hurt from walking along the way. As she walked, she muttered, handsome guy, let's take a taxi. Look, I really can't walk. Taking a taxi costs a lot of money, so please bear with me for a while, Li Tian said. Fei was rubbing her thin white legs there, feeling so depressed that she could only continue walking. The area they came to was found by Li Tian himself. Because the buildings in this area looked very old, Li Tian thought the houses here should be cheaper. This area is an ordinary residential area. It can be seen from the architectural style of the houses and the surrounding environment that it is an ordinary residential area. Most of the staff from out of town live here. There are also street stalls and people buying fruits and vegetables. Looking at this area, Fei frowned. Are we going to live here? What do you think? Li Tian rolled his eyes at her and said, Fei is depressed there. She doesn't have a penny in her pocket now, so she can only settle for less. Li Tian is quite smart. After arriving here, he started looking for small advertisements for renting houses on the walls of the community. I quickly found a piece of paper, which said, for rent, simple decoration, 60 square meters small bedroom, with sofa, table and chairs, a broken air conditioner, phone number, 130. Seeing this, Li Tian couldn't help but turned his head and looked at Fei and said, do you have a mobile phone? Don't you have a mobile phone? Fei asked. No. When Fei heard what Li Tian said, she couldn't help but secretly thought, it seems that she has really met a poor person. Reluctantly, he took out his iPhone 5, which was not yet available in China, from his pocket and handed it to Li Tian. Li Tian touched this exquisite iPhone 5, which has not yet been launched in China, and was stunned for a moment. In his mind, the mobile phone held by Wang Zizi, who runs a supermarket in Liaocheng, and the clamshell Nokia are the best of the best. It can also record video, but when Fei touched the iPhone 5 handed over to her, she was stunned at first, and she was slightly puzzled that there was such a beautiful phone. So this guy said something that almost made Fei vomit blood. Is this the legendary copycat phone? Fei almost vomited blood when she heard what Li Tian said. Ah! You are the first person to say that my mobile phone is a copycat. I really admire you. Fei rolled her eyes at Li Tian. Li Tian chuckled, touched the phone, and pressed his finger for a long time, but there was no response. He couldn't help but curse, damn it, what kind of fake phone is this? Why can't you open the cover? As for Fei, she was completely speechless to Li Tian. Give it to me, I'll give it to you. Fei grabbed her mobile phone, then skillfully pressed the phone number on the advertising paper on the touch screen, and then handed it to Li Tian. Okay, just tell him. That's all. Li Tian said in surprise. Brother, I'm begging you, stop nagging and call quickly. Fei handed the phone to Li Tian. Li Tian touched the phone, depressed for a long time, and said to the phone, hello. An old woman's voice came from the other side and shouted, hey, what are you doing? I rent a house. Oh, you rent a house. Did you see the address on the advertisement? Come here by yourself. By the way, let me tell you in advance that I have to pay cash for this house. Okay, got it. That's good. After saying that, He hung up the phone. Li Tian touched the iPhone in his hand and was still wondering why this fake phone was so fun to use, so Na Feifei snatched it away. Stingy guy, let me take a look and see that it's a fake phone. Li Tian glared at Na Feifei and said, Feifei's lungs almost exploded with anger, you can go die. The two of them were arguing while looking for the address written on the small advertisement paper. It says 3-unit apartment, 502, it took me a long time to find the 3-unit apartment, 502. 5th floor. Feifei suddenly became depressed. She looked at the 6-story building, and she was depressed now that they were going to climb up. Text chapter 26 The Truth. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Li Tian ignored her and walked slowly towards the 5th floor carrying his broken bag. Feifei from behind saw Li Tian walking up, sighed helplessly and followed. After much difficulty, they finally reached the 5th floor. Feifei was panting, tiredly holding on to the wall next to her, and looking at Li Tian there. Li Tian had already knocked on the door, and after a while, he saw the iron door open. A woman in her 40s walked out. After walking out, she glanced at Li Tian and Feifei in front of her. Are you renting a house? Yes. Li Tian replied. The house is on the 6th floor, just upstairs. Come on, I'll take you to have a look. The woman in her 40s said as she walked upstairs with Li Tian and Feifei in front of her. Is there another level? Feifei was completely depressed. Li Tian in front of him had already followed the woman upstairs. Opening the door, the 40-year-old woman pointed to a simply decorated house and said, Look at this house, it's 1,000 a month. 1,000? So expensive? Li Tian couldn't help but hesitate. The 40-year-old woman suddenly turned around and said, 1,000 is still expensive? This is already the cheapest house in Kyoto. When Li Tian heard what the woman said, he glanced at the house. There was nothing else in the house except a broken table and a bed. Moreover, because no one had lived in it for a long time, it was covered with a layer of dust, and it was hard to walk in. You have to hold your nose. Do you want to live in it or not? To be honest, my house is already the cheapest in Kyoto. If you don't believe it, you can look for it again. The woman in her 40s said impatiently. Li Tian suddenly felt distressed. I thought I'd better rent it. It would be dark soon. If I didn't rent it, I would really be sleeping on the street, so Li Tian agreed. Then he took out 1,000 yuan from his pocket and handed it to the woman in her 40s. After the woman took the money, she smiled from ear to ear, and said to Li Tian, Dao, this room is actually quite nice. Please clean it. Don't mention how comfortable it will be for the young couple. Young couple. Feifei behind her almost fainted when she heard the woman say that. Isn't that right? We are all living together, not just a young couple, but that's right, young people nowadays like to live together in advance. The woman said as she walked out of the door. It made Feifei extremely embarrassed. Li Tian didn't think much about it. After walking in, he put his backpack on a table and started cleaning. Feifei walked in and glanced at the bedroom with a frown. Can people live in this place? Li Tian immediately rolled his eyes at her. Girl, you don't have a penny, it would be nice to have a place to live, and you are so picky. You. Feifei pointed at Li Tian fiercely, but he endured it. There was no way Li Tian was telling the truth. He really didn't have a penny in his pocket. You clean up here now, I'm going to make a phone call. Feifei said and ran out quickly. Li Tian was left alone in the house to tidy up. This place is finally Li Tian's first residence in Kyoto. Although it is relatively simple, it is pretty good for Li Tian who has been an orphan since he was a child. Unfortunately, this house costs 1,000 yuan a month, and he doesn't have much money with him. He has very little left at this moment. It seems that he needs to find a job quickly, otherwise he will not be able to starve to death in this big city. Feifei, who ran out, was hiding on the stairs on the 4th floor and talking on the phone. Hello, my little baby. Feifei said into the phone. Feifei, my God, you finally called me. A very sexy girl's voice said in shock from the other party. What's wrong? Girl, do you miss me? Feifei said with a smile. Hazy, stinky girl, where did you go today? Your father came to find me in person and asked me if you were here with me. Fei seemed a little unhappy when she heard about her father. Don't worry about him, let him worry. The girl named Su Ku over there said on the phone, Fei, is it still because of your engagement with that playboy? Yeah. God, Su Ku is in the 21st century now. I really can't stand my dad, baby kiss, luckily he can think of it. And that guy is still a playboy. It's really terrible. If I marry like that in this life I might as well just die. Fei said angrily. I also think Uncle Tang didn't do this well. That man is really unreliable. Su Kadao said. Then where are you now? Su Ku asked Fei. Fei said, I live with a master, now. What, master? Su Ku asked in confusion. Fei smiled and said, he is a very good fighter, and he is also a handsome guy. You don't know it today, but I was almost dragged back by 2 followers sent by my father. Fortunately, the master came to my aid when there was an injustice. In the end, the hero saves the beauty. Halo, you are still a hero saving the beauty. Do you know him? Do you know what that guy does? Su Ku asked worriedly. Fei was stunned. It seems that he just arrived in Kyoto. What? You dare to be with someone who has just arrived in Kyoto? I'm really convinced by you, Fei. How about I drive over to pick you up and you come and stay with me? Su Ku said worriedly. Fei said, no, don't worry about me, I will be fine. This guy is quite funny. I don't think he is a bad person. Fei, you are a girl, and besides, you are a pretty little beauty. How can you make me feel relieved that you are living with a strange man now? In today's society, there are many people who know each other's faces, but what if this guy has any evil thoughts, it will be troublesome. Besides, you are the daughter of Tang Corporation in Kyoto City. No, just tell me your address and I will drive to pick you up. You can live with me. Zook, don't worry about me. Really, I can never be wrong about people. This bumpkin is definitely not a bad person. Okay, I won't tell you anymore. After saying that, Fei hung up the phone. Su Ku's voice came from the other end of the phone, but unfortunately Fei had already hung up the phone and specifically turned off the phone. What the hell is going on with this girl? It turns out that the real name of the Fei in front of me is Tang Fei, and she is the daughter of the Tang Corporation in Kyoto City. In Kyoto City, when it comes to Tang Corporation, there must be few people who don't know about it, but where is Tang Fei's father? It is the leader of Tang Enterprises. Why did Tang Fei suddenly run away from home today? It turns out that as early as 20 years ago, Tang Fei's father, Tang Zheng, got help from the Wang family in Kyoto when his business was at its lowest, so the business turned around. In order to express his feelings, Tang Zheng arranged a baby bride for the Wang family since he was a child. Now, 20 years have passed in a blink of an eye. Tang Fei has grown up. Where is the eldest son of the Wang family over there? But he is a notoriously playboy, because the Wang family is also very rich. That guy from the Wang family has deceived countless girls in Kyoto City. Tang Fei never knew that she had a baby kiss. She only found out about it recently. When she found out, she became angry, especially when she heard that it was the playboy from the Wang family. How could she be willing? So Tang Fei ran away from home in anger and met Li Tian. Text chapter 27. Getting angry gets old quickly. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. When Fei returned to the 6th floor, Li Tian had almost tidied up the room. At least the floor was clean. Looking at the clean little room, Fei praised him and said, wow, he is such a typical good man. Li Tian rolled his eyes at the girl when he went up, sat down quietly on the side, took out a cigarette from his pocket, lit it, and took a deep breath. What are you going to do tonight? Li Tian suddenly looked at Fei and asked. What do you mean? Fei was stunned. Li Tian pointed to the small bedroom inside with the hand holding the cigarette and said, there is a bed over there. Fei was stunned for a moment, then said, are you a man? Of course you should make do with me. Can you tell me? Li Tian said, blowing out a puff of smoke from his mouth. Handsome guy, you can't let me, a weak woman, sleep on the sofa, right? It's so cold at night. Fei pretended to be pitiful. In addition, she looked like a little princess in her original appearance, and now she looked even more adorable with her little cherry lips. Along the way, to be honest, Li Tian didn't really look at this little beauty carefully because he was angry with this girl. At this moment, he blinked and looked at Fei in front of him. I suddenly felt that it was so beautiful. She has a delicate oval face, a straight bridge of nose, red cherry lips, and a figure that may be due to long-term yoga practice. She is tall and slim, and with those two slender legs, she looks really attractive. Li Tian didn't think he was a little crazy. What about Fei? Suddenly seeing Li Tian's fiery eyes staring at him, he couldn't help but feel a little scared in his heart, and hurriedly hid back. What are you looking at? Li Tian turned around quickly when she said this. No. I want to sleep on that bed tonight. Fei said. You want to sleep? Yeah. Fei nodded. Well, since you want to sleep, then go ahead and sleep. The bed is big enough anyway. A certain man said with a lewd smile. Fei felt something was wrong when she heard this, and quickly asked, what do you mean? Hey, it's such a big bed, it shouldn't be a problem for us to sleep on it. Li Tian said shamelessly. Rogue. Fei shouted all of a sudden. You just know. Li Tian threatened her. Fei blinked, looked at Li Tianwen tentatively and said, I know you are joking with me. Who are you kidding me? If you don't believe me, try it. Let's sleep together tonight. It's just the same bed anyway. Besides, you are so beautiful. If that man doesn't get tempted when he sees you, he must be a fool. When Li Tian said this, Fei was scared at that time. Are you serious? Then there is still a holiday. Fei was shocked for a moment. What if this guy really messed with her as a girl at night, and besides, this guy was still a master? Suddenly his face became extremely ugly. Looking at her nervous and scared look, Li Tian was secretly excited and happy. Okay, I won't argue with you anymore. Who told me, Li Tian, to be naturally kind? You can just sleep on the bed tonight. Li Tiandao said. When Fei heard Li Tian say that she would sleep on the bed, she was so happy that she wanted to hug Li Tian, kiss him hard, and said excitedly, thank you, handsome man. Li Tian was also quite satisfied. On his first day in Kyoto, although he said that he would soon spend all his money, at least he got to know someone, and she was a pretty girl, so he was quite happy. In the remaining time, Li Tian tidied up the sofa in the room, then slowly took out the contents of his backpack, and then went to the small city downstairs to buy some daily necessities. So the dust of my first nest in Kyoto City was finally settled. And what about Fei? She didn't do anything. She didn't know whether she didn't know how to do housework or didn't want to do it. She was alone in the small bedroom, chatting online on her mobile phone. Hey, girl, it's not an option for you to follow me like this. I'm also a poor person. Besides, I don't have much money in my pocket. I can tell you in advance that if you plan to let me support you, I can't afford it. Besides, I already have a wife. Li Tian felt happy when he thought of his killer wife, whom he had never married. Tang Fei suddenly became interested when she heard what Li Tian said. She blinked her watery eyes and looked at Li Tiandao and said, you already have a wife. That's right. Li Tian said proudly. Really? Fake. Fei didn't believe it. Li Tiandao, am I still lying to you? Let me tell you, my wife is not an ordinary person, she is. The word killer almost came out of his mouth. Who is your wife? Fei said somewhat unconvinced. Women are always jealous, even if it is an unrelated person. As long as he is better than her, she will be jealous. Li Tian smiled and said, my wife is beautiful. I can guarantee that she is the most beautiful woman in our small county. Even in a big city like Kyoto, there are not many women as beautiful as my wife. Fei couldn't help but feel angry when she heard Li Tian praising his wife's beauty. At this moment, he put his two thin arms on his small waist and said angrily with his almond-shaped eyes, "I don't believe what you say. How could a bumpkin like you, who is poor and ignorant and regards iPhone 5 as a copycat machine, marry such a beautiful woman?" Li Tian suddenly became angry when he heard Fei Fei say this. "Girl, do you look down on me? What's wrong with looking down on you? I'm telling the truth." Fei Fei said. Li Tian suddenly became angry. Li Tian, who has lived on his own since he was a child, hates most that others look down on him. Then he said angrily, "You are still talking about me? You don't have a penny on you now, how dare you call me a pauper? Call me a country bumpkin. I don't know who the country bumpkin is. You think I really have no money?" Fei Fei was so angry that Li Tian said this that she almost flew up. "I wish I could go home and use money to smash Li Tian to death. Do you have money? Take it out, show it to me. If you take it out today, Li Tian, will believe you." Fei Fei was depressed this time. Now she really wanted to call her father, and then go to the bank to take out a sack of banknotes and smash this bumpkin to death. Unfortunately, Fei Fei couldn't get out a penny at this juncture. She was angry and felt aggrieved, but she said when she came out, the feeling was really driving her crazy. Fei Fei couldn't help but almost collapsed and screamed, but a certain man chuckled and said, "Don't forget it if you don't have money. It's not shameful to be poor. Who dares to say that it is shameful to be poor? Do you think so?" Fei Fei angrily ignored him and turned away. "What's wrong, are you angry?" Li Tian looked at Fei Fei and said. Fei Fei turned her pretty face and glared at Li Tian. "I'm too lazy to be angry with people like you. Just don't be angry. The book says that if a woman is angry, wrinkles will easily appear on her face and she will age quickly. You are aging quickly." Text chapter 28 Tianshu Dan Scroll. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Kyoto City is located in the most prosperous commercial center where there is a high-end villa area. It is said that the villas here can reach 50,000 to 60,000 square meters per square meter. What is the concept? Rich people. A villa with a slightly Western architectural style but also containing European architecture is Dingli. The entire mansion is surrounded by an iron fence. There are two security guards in suits standing with pens at the door. They have strong and straight figures. As standing there, looking at the red Satoto tiles imported from Europe, they are perfectly inlaid on the building in front of me that can be described as terrifying and hideous. Apart from this, it is all transparent glass, two big lions squatted at the imposing door, with angry eyes. The entire door was made of Sophia Sogol glass. They say Sogol glass is more awesome than bulletproof glass. I just don't know if it's true or false. In short, two words, luxury. Passing through the garden inside the courtyard, you can see the hall. A huge crystal chandelier hangs impressively in the center of the hall. Two men in black suits are standing in the hall at the moment, with their heads lowered, standing there like children who have done something wrong and are being scolded. What about the man in front of them? Over 40 years old, the Chinese character face, thick eyebrows, and a pair of dark and bright eyes give people a sense of calmness and self-power, especially the resolute and domineering character that surrounds him, which may be felt by people who have worked hard in the mall for many years. Wearing a Exut brand-name suit, gray, with a Byron gold tie inside, he looks pretty and eye-catching, sitting there quietly. Behind him stands a man with glasses, who looks gentle and gentle. He has a pair of white hands and a pale face. With a blink of an eye, people who didn't know better thought he was a scholar, but who knew his true identity. Under the thin eyebrows is a pair of cold eyes hidden under glass lenses, like a wild beast in the jungle, a wolf, immovable and invisible. If the wind moves, maybe this is the kind of person he is talking about. You two idiots, how can you still have the nerve to come back to see me if you can follow the eldest lady? The man in his 40s sitting in the middle suddenly became furious and said angrily. The majesty revealed in the voice scared the two men in suits with their heads lowered in front of them to their core. Mr. Tang, we realize we were wrong, please give us another chance. Two men in suits whispered there, looking at the two people carefully. Aren't they the two men in suits chasing Fei Fei and Shen Lang on the street? Yes, it was these two men in suits. One of the arms was still covered with a white bandage. He was so shaken by the energy in Li Tian's abdomen that he had his head lowered. Two grown men still can't catch that girl. What do you do for food? The man known as Mr. Tang scolded. Who is he? Could it be Tang Zheng, the chairman of Tang Enterprises? Could it be that he is Tang Feifei's father? Mr. Tang, it seems they are not entirely to blame for what happened today. The man with glasses who had been standing quietly behind Tang Zheng said slowly. The voice was a little thin, like a woman's voice, but it was very nice to hear. Tang Zheng snorted. Then who do you blame? The man with gold-rimmed glasses standing behind Tang Zheng slightly adjusted the gold-rimmed glasses on his eyes with his hand, and said slowly, I heard that they were able to bring the eldest lady back today. It's a pity that I met a stranger during the pickup process. What stranger? Tang Zheng asked. The man wearing glasses turned his head to the two men who had their heads lowered and said, You two should tell me everything about today. Yes. Then two men in suits with their heads lowered slowly said, Mr. Tang, we were supposed to pick up the eldest lady today, but when we were picking her up, an unknown guy suddenly jumped out, and he was also very powerful. The guy with a broken arm whispered there. Yes, Mr. Tang, the eldest lady said at that time that person was his bodyguard. She also said that whoever dared to let her go back would have her bodyguards beat us to death. So we took action, but unfortunately we didn't expect that the guy whom the eldest lady called the bodyguard was very weird. I hit him with my fist, and I don't know why, but an invisible strange force rebounded from the man's body. When I came back, my arm was broken due to the shock, so. Tang Zheng's face turned extremely ugly when he suddenly heard what his subordinate said. Bodyguard? This girl, hey. Tang Zheng sighed helplessly. Mr. Tang, we can see that person is not actually the eldest lady's bodyguard, but a complete stranger, and he probably doesn't know the eldest lady at all. Said the subordinate. Tang Zheng was slightly startled. So, Feifei let a complete stranger beat you too, right? Tang Zheng suddenly burst out laughing. The two men lowered their heads and nodded silently. As expected of me, Tang Zheng's daughter. Hey, but you two are indeed stupid enough. Forget it, I don't blame you. Tang Zheng said with a smile. Thank you, Mr. Tang. The two men in suits said quickly. Tang Zheng, but where is this girl now? Hey, women are not admitted in college. It seems that this is a good thing. This girl must not suffer a loss outside. Tang Zheng said worriedly. The man with glasses standing behind him narrowed his eyes and said slowly, Don't worry, Mr. Tang. Although the eldest lady likes to play tricks sometimes, no one can stop her with her wit. That's right. If my Tang Zheng's daughter suffers a loss outside, how can she repay it? However, Xiao Zhou, you should get Feifei back to me as soon as possible. Although this girl usually loves to play in front of me, I really want to go a day without seeing her. The man with glasses, known as Xiao Zhou, smiled slightly. Don't worry, Mr. Tang. I will arrange for someone to find the eldest lady. Tomorrow, I will definitely bring the eldest lady back tomorrow. His voice had an undoubted power, as if what he said never failed to come true. Who is this guy with glasses? If no one in Kyoto City recognizes Xiao Zhou, but when it comes to the title of Desperate Saburo, there must be a few people who don't recognize him. The gentle-looking man wearing glasses in front of him is the president of Tang Enterprises, the most powerful person around Tang Zheng. Xiao Zhou, Li Tian and Feifei are simply incompatible. There is no way that one is a poor person who has no parents since she was a child and has to plan everything for herself, while the other is a wealthy lady who has had no worries about food and clothing since she was a child. For her, money is a complete immune function. Two people like this are together. It would be weird if there were no quarrels under the same roof. A quarrel is a quarrel, and you have to eat when you are hungry. Originally, Feifei would never eat food from street stalls or small restaurants, but she was really hungry after having a bowl of bird's nest porridge this morning. Moreover, the most terrible thing was that Feifei had no money. She was about to die, so she had no choice but to follow someone to the small restaurant downstairs for a bowl of ramen for 5 yuan. Feifei never thought that she would eat this kind of rice, but when she ate it, she realized that this kind of 5 yuan noodles really tasted much better than lobster and abalone at this time. The two of them ate 2 bowls in total and paid 10 yuan to the restaurant owner. Feifei was still a little hungry. After all, she hadn't eaten all day. The small bowl was not enough to fill her stomach, so she was rejected by a certain man. Reason for rejection: girl, your appetite is too big, right? Save it, I have no money. So a certain woman pinched Li Tian angrily and followed him upstairs reluctantly. Night in Kyoto always comes very quickly, so that after Feifei and Li Tian finished eating, night came. Feifei took the lead and got into the only small room, laughing. This room belongs to me, you are not allowed to come in at night. Li Tian rolled his eyes at the girl. I am a serious person with a wife. Bah, who knows? Li Tian ignored her and slowly tidied up the sofa alone. After putting the 2 sofas together, he lay down alone. Where was Feifei? He was directly afraid that Li Tian was a wolf, so he slammed the door and locked it from the inside. Li Tian didn't mind either, because he really wasn't in the mood to think about that girl right now. Instead, he was lying on the sofa thinking about his thoughts. What happened today? That buddy's arm was really broken by the shock. Li Tian thought to himself. Could it really be because I unintentionally released the energy gathered in my dantian? But when he thought of this, he gathered strength again, but suddenly there was no energy in his abdomen, as if the energy was gone after being released today. This made Li Tian depressed. Could it be that the energy was gone? Gene only comes once. Could it be that the energy only exists in oneself for a while? He knew that he had just read Book of Heavenly Alchemy scroll, and the acupuncture point where those tadpoles hit him only opened a potential switch in his body for him, so it shocked the opponent's arm to fracture, but that energy was because Li Tian didn't understand the power of the Book of Heavenly Book at all, so he couldn't use it now. At this moment, he quickly took out the torn book from his ragged backpack, opened it, and began to look at it carefully. 2 chapters combined into one. Will continue to update in the afternoon. I hope all book friends will collect it, recommend it, vote for it monthly, etc. Text Chapter 29 I Won't Eat You. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After reading the broken book again, Li Tian was still the same as before, and those tadpoles began to swim quickly in his mind, slowly entering his body and starting to beat on his acupuncture points. As soon as those tadpoles beat on his acupuncture points, a slow heating feeling began to reappear in his abdomen, and Li Tian gradually felt I feel a gathering of energy. Li Tian was excited this time. Could this, broken book, be some kind of strange book? Li Tian wondered in his mind. The more he read, the more interested he became, and before he knew it, he was completely addicted to the tadpole book. And what about Feifei? One person was lying in the bedroom playing with his mobile phone. It was the first time for Feifei to live in such a simple room, but she was a little uncomfortable sleeping, especially because the hardness of the bed made her waist uncomfortable. Feifei took off her coat on the bed, revealing her white shoulders. Her alluring figure was huddled inside the quilt, and her 2 slender legs were exposed outside the quilt. She was lying in a prone position with her 2 thin legs dangling there. Playing with the phone. After playing for a while, my arms felt a little sore and sleepy, so I lay on the bed and thought about things silently in my heart. What should I do? How ridiculous it is that my father is so stubborn and kisses me like a baby. Besides, the other party is still a playboy, which is terrible. Even if I, Tang Feifei, die, I will not be with such a thing. Feifei was wondering alone in her heart, but my father is so stubborn, what should I do? You can't really die. Got it. Suddenly an evil idea popped into Feifei's mind. Isn't there a master in the room? Moreover, he has just arrived in Kyoto and is still a stingy man. If I give him some money and let him pretend to be my boyfriend, and then tell his father, he will be considered as me. I've had a baby kiss since I was a child, so what can I do? Anyway, I told my dad that I fell in love with him, so why not get married? If my dad still doesn't agree, I will bring him to that playboy. Tell him personally that I have a boyfriend, make him mad. What can he do? Feifei was very excited when she suddenly had this crooked idea in her heart. She couldn't help but praise herself. Tang Feifei, you are so smart. The girl with such an evil idea went to bed happily, and what about someone outside? But he didn't know that something extremely evil was about to happen to him. The night passed quickly. Li Tian read that broken book until about 11 o'clock, then reluctantly put down the book and went to sleep. That night, he thought a lot in his mind, and a lot of weird scenes appeared. First of all, there were those little tadpoles that kept swimming all over his body, and he could feel the force gradually getting stronger in his abdomen. But what makes Li Tian depressed is that although the accumulation in his abdomen has accumulated strength, what about him? But he doesn't know how to use it, just like a person who is extremely powerful but doesn't know how to use his body's strength. After thinking about it, he fell asleep. In his dream, he dreamed of his killer wife, Situ Ningbing. He dreamed of her walking alone on a dark road, her lonely figure, her long hair hanging down. As she walked, she would occasionally look back at her with a smile on her face. Then the dream began to change drastically, and it turned into Situ Ningbing being chased by a group of people, so that she ended up covered in blood. Li Tian woke up from his sleep with a sound. He clenched his fists tightly and sat up from the sofa. Li Tian found that his clothes were wet with cold sweat all over his body. It turned out to be a dream, and Li Tian couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. Looking at the slightly bright sky outside, Li Tian did not sleep anymore. He slowly stood up from the sofa, stretched, and then began to open the curtains of the room. He stood alone at the window and looked at the scene. Looking at the steel city built with steel bars and cement, the door creaked, a beautiful figure rubbed her eyes and opened the small door of the room. Tang Feifei, wearing a short skirt with waterfall-like hair, stepped out of the door with two slender white legs. She blinked and saw Li Tian standing at the window. "You got up so early?" Feifei felt that this guy was really a savage. Then Li Tian slowly turned his head and looked at Feifei. Looking at Feifei from this angle, he could have a full view of her slender and plump figure. The two breasts were not very big, but they happened to be able to be pinched with his hands. Li Tian almost sat down when he saw them. On the ground, looking at the two slender legs tightly together, Li Tian couldn't help but swallow deeply. Do I really fucking live in the same room with such a beautiful woman? Li Tian really couldn't believe it. "Hey, what's wrong with you?" Feifei looked at Li Tian in surprise and asked. Li Tian quickly smiled awkwardly and said, it's okay. I have something to tell you later. Please wait a moment." After finishing speaking, Feifei went to the bathroom. Li Tian didn't pay too much attention. He said casually, and then opened the window. A ray of sunlight shone in from the outside, and the whole room instantly became much brighter. It's already 6-7 o'clock. Li Tian was sitting on the sofa, thinking that he would have some breakfast and then go out to find a job. He still had more than 300 yuan in his pocket. If he didn't find a job, he might not be able to survive this month. Li Tian was thinking about finding a job here, and Feifei had already walked out of the bathroom. Feifei, with a delicate oval face, looked at Li Tian with a smile. The expression on his face was like that of a big bad wolf seeing a demo, and Li Tian felt uncomfortable all over while laughing. "Hey, I want to talk to you about something." As Feifei spoke, she sat down next to Li Tian, blinked her bright eyes like autumn water, and looked at Li Tian with a seductive gaze. This is a great challenge for Li Tian, who is still a virgin. Smelling the girl's body fragrance coming from Feifei sitting next to him, he subconsciously looked at the place next to him and sat down. What are you afraid of? I won't eat you. Feifei said, looking at him. This made Li Tian suddenly depressed. I thought to myself, as a grown man, how could I still be afraid of a little beauty? Text chapter 30. Pretend to be my boyfriend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Then what are you talking about? But I have to agree in advance. If you want to ask me to borrow money, don't talk about it. I don't have any money. I have to find a job today. Li Tian went up and said, this guy is an out-and-out miser, there is no doubt about that. When Feifei heard what Li Tian said, she immediately gave Li Tian a hard look. Stingy, bumpkin, I want to borrow money from you. Are you crazy? Feifei said angrily. Li Tian chuckled, okay, as long as you don't ask me to borrow money, tell me, what's the matter? Feifei didn't care about Li Tian, and said slowly, can you do me a favor? If you help me, I will never treat you badly when the time comes, and I will give you a lot of money. Really? Li Tian said with a smile. Feifei said seriously, of course it's true. You can pull me over, you don't have a penny on me now, why are you giving me money? Do you think I'm stupid? Li Tian laughed and said. Feifei suddenly became angry when she heard that this guy regarded herself as the owner who had no money. You country bumpkin, do you really not know, or are you just pretending not to know? Money is not a problem for me at all. Let me tell you, this lady named Li is too lazy to tell you her identity. If I tell you, I'm afraid it will scare you. I'm going to kill you. Feifei said angrily, piercing her waist. When Li Tian heard this, he looked at Feifei sideways and said, really? Then tell me, what is your identity? Can you really scare me to death? Are you a royal noble? Or are you the daughter of a big company? As Li Tian spoke, Tang Feifei was so angry that her lungs were about to explode. She never expected that she would be considered a liar by someone, and she was also a liar pretending to be a rich person. Tang Feifei, who has lived for 20 years, can be said to be short of everything except money. Now she is good. She is considered a liar pretending to be a rich person. This makes the daughter of Tang's enterprise unbearable. You are just a pig. Feifei couldn't think of a more suitable word to scold Li Tian. Li Tian waved his hand slightly and said, forget it, I won't argue with you. Let's talk quickly. What's going on? I have to find a job later. Feifei didn't bother to argue with him, thinking to herself, as long as he promised her, it would be fine. After thinking for a while, he looked at Li Tiandao and said, I want you to do me a favor. What's the deal? You, pretend to be my boyfriend for a few days, just for a few days. Feifei said with a blush. Although Feifei has always been a little wild girl, she is a girl after all, so when she said these words, her face turned slightly red and her voice became very low, but Li Tian was stunned for a moment. What? I didn't hear clearly. Someone said deliberately. Feifei blushed and clenched her pink fists tightly and said, I said, can you pretend to be my boyfriend for a few days? Only now did Li Tian really hear clearly. Pretend? Be your boyfriend? Girl, there's nothing wrong with you, right? Li Tiandao said. You're the one with the problem. Feifei glared at Li Tian and said angrily. Then why did you ask me to pretend to be your boyfriend? Do you lack love? Li Tian said with a smile. Feifei couldn't explain it clearly to this guy, she was so angry that she was going crazy. Li, do you agree or not? Feifei said with a blush. She suddenly felt that she had lived for 20 years and today was the most embarrassing time for her. Li Tian chuckled and said, actually, it's not bad to pretend to be the boyfriend of a beauty like you, but I'm afraid you'll play tricks on me. When Feifei heard this, she suddenly felt hope in her heart. No, how could I possibly trick you, handsome boy, you are my savior. Go, stop doing this. Tell me, why do I pretend to be your boyfriend? Do you owe others money and are afraid that others will ask you for it, and then let me be the scapegoat to take care of it for you? Li Tian guessed. Bumpkin, can't you say something else? When have I, Tang Feifei, ever been short of money? Then why do you want me to pretend to be your boyfriend? Li Tian asked. Feifei thought for a long time and then said, anyway, if something happens, will you help me or not? If you help me, I will definitely find a miser for you a lot of money. I, Tang Feifei, always keep my word. I promise not to lie to you. Are you rich? Only a ghost can believe you. Li Tiandao said. Then you won't help me? Feifei jumped up and shouted. Li Tian thought for a while, looked at Feifei, looked at her every part, like an old gangster, and said with a smile, can we stop pretending, can I just be your boyfriend? Go to hell, only a devil would like a miser like you. Feifei said with a blush on her face, her classical melon seed face, which was already exquisite to the extreme. suddenly turned red and looked even more rosy and cute. Li Tian didn't think it was a little late to see it. He murmured, "This girl is so beautiful that she can compare with me, the unmarried daughter-in-law." "Okay, because I, Li Tian, am a big man, I will help you once for free, but I have something to say in front of you. We are 5 good young people. We are just pretending to be boyfriends. Kissing and holding hands are fine. But if you really want to use a real weapon, I won't do it." Someone said. "Go to hell." Feifei cursed, her pretty cheeks as red as a red Fuji apple, which really made people want to go up and take a bite. "As long as you do well, I will definitely not treat you badly in the future," Feifei said with a smile. "Pull it, I just want you to stay as far away from me as possible after I help you." After saying that, Li Tian walked towards the door. "Where are you going?" Feifei asked from behind. "Eat breakfast." "I am coming too." Feifei trotted over.